Hello, everyone. Welcome to Backyard Musings, broadcasting live from Apple Valley. I'm Steve.
And I'm Scott.
Thank you for joining us on Independence Day.
Independence Day, yeah.
2024.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July. Before we launch in, what I'd like to ask you to do sometime today, take a moment to think about the flag of the United States. It represents the United States. And we are 248 years young, our nation.
Yep.
Think about the flag. Think about what it took to get that flag. All the men and possibly women that died in the Revolutionary War. Maybe think about Francis Key Scott when he was writing the national anthem. What he saw, the bombs bursting in air. Just take a moment to look at those lyrics, and rather than it's our national anthem, think about the actual words. Put yourself in his shoes. What he was seeing. Take a moment to do that. Okay, today.
Important day.
Yeah, important day. Today we're going to be talking about, as promised, the last 5 items of Trump's 47 agenda. So these are the last ones. I guess it's fitting to be done on 4th of July. So
yeah,
here we're going to launch it. Plan number 31. Plan to save American education and give power back to parents. We talked a little bit about this before.
I like it.
Cut federal spending for any school or program pushing critical race theory, gender ideology, or other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children.
I like it.
That.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Direct the Departments of Justice and Education to open civil rights investigations into any school district that is engaged in race-based discrimination, including discrimination against Asian Americans.
Yeah, there's some fools out there that we'll give you this program if you're black. I mean, it's clear-cut race. Why do that?
I don't know.
Well, because of equity. That's why. Because of equity, not merit. Because the Marxism being taught in schools is aggressively hostile to Judeo-Christian teachings, aggressively pursue potential violations of the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause of the Constitution. So the establishment, state, religion and state, that's the Establishment Clause. The Free Exercise, I don't know.
Do you think we see this more in a upper education institution like college, maybe in a high school? I don't know.
I don't think we see it in the primary schools.
I would think not. I mean, it shouldn't be even taught in middle or high school. I mean, that's basics, just basic stuff. So, find and remove the radicals who have infiltrated the Federal Department of Education, and get Congress to reaffirm the president's ability to remove. What is that word? Recalcitrant? Holy cow, you're killing me.
Come on, producers.
Recalcitrant employees from the job. Okay, well, first of all, I'm gonna do away with the Department of Education guy completely. So,
I think I'm okay with that.
Let it go back to the states,
right? The counties,
counties and states.
Yeah. I'm all for that, but I think maybe they do that to have standards across the nation.
I don't know. I think we should allow that to be decided at the state level, or, like you say, county level.
Okay. Veto the sinister effort to weaponize civics education on civics lessons.
Well,
I don't know. It sounds sinister, but I guess I'd have to look at that a little bit more.
Yeah, we need to delve into that one a little bit. There's a couple on here that we're not quite sure of. So, keep men out of women's sports. Is that
no-brainer?
That is a common sense no-brain.
I
just saw where a couple guys qualified to go to the Olympics.
Yeah, on the women's team.
In the women's team. I mean,
it's ridiculous. Now there's going to be an asterisk if they win something. There's going to be an asterisk. He was born a man, and I don't understand how the transgender people or inclusive people they don't understand the science of XY and YY chromosomes and how a doctor can assign. Well, a doctor is a medical doctor, right? He's taking biology. The doctor knows you're one or the other. I don't get it.
I don't have any comment about that.
I
That
don't
just
get
is it's so over the top to me that I don't get where people
Give them their
go on that.
own
their own sport lane.
sport lane.
You know,
Yeah.
just let them
Let them compete against each other.
Exactly.
Okay.
But
create a new credentialing body to certify teachers who embrace patriotic values and understand that their job is not to indoctrinate children, but to educate them. I kind of like that, but when you say indoctrinate, well, that's indoctrinate children. So what? So would you have to re-credential every so often to prove your loyalty or whatever? I don't know.
you know, again,
How
this
you do
goes.
that?
We talked about this a while back. We have tenure here in the state.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure they have it probably
And
in
my
every
wife
state.
blogged why she
Right,
thought tenure was
right. And
important.
I get that, but you know, if you're in the private sector and you're working at a job, your job is basically, unless you're an employee of a family-based business or something like that, and you're in part of the family or whatever, it's usually merit-based, correct?
Yeah.
And you got to prove yourself. I mean, if you're hired as a carpenter and you can't swing a hammer, chances are you're not going to be a carpenter for very long, right?
Or it takes you 30 minutes to pound a nail. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Or every nail you pound in is bent, or
Yeah.
you know your cuts are bad, or whatever. You're either gonna weed yourself out, or they're gonna ask you to leave. And I
Right.
believe that there should be some kind of the same type of steps for teaching, especially. And when I hear the word indoctrinate, I think about, you know, I don't want my kids or my grandkids to go to school and hear about somebody's personal lifestyle.
Yeah.
Or how, you know, I expect them to be taught, like I said earlier, the basics, you know, how to read,
Right.
write,
And
you know,
math.
do mathematics, teach them history as it is in the books, as long as it's correct.
Yeah, but they're revisionists, so
I
that
get
depends
that.
on your truth, I guess, what they're saying.
Yeah, but those are the things that I would hope that they would root out. You know, and in history, good history and bad history. I mean, we made some mistakes in our country. We've
Yeah.
talked about that too.
We shouldn't erase the slavery. I mean, it's a stigma that's on this nation, you know.
Exactly.
And we have to learn from it so we don't repeat it.
Right, and as our religious background, we don't believe that anybody's perfect, so people make mistakes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But to just arbitrarily go out and fill young minds that haven't been formed yet with stuff is just not right, and that should be rooted out, definitely.
Yeah,
I believe.
cognitive maturity, right? That doesn't happen until the mid-20s, maybe 30s.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Implement massive funding preferences and favorable treatment for all states and school districts that make the following historic reforms in education. Abolish teacher tenure for grades K through 12 and adopt merit pay. Okay, I like that.
Yep, I do. Drastically cut the number of school administrators, including the DEI bureaucracy. Yep.
I don't know how. I have no idea. I mean, I'm not a teacher, so I know that the administrators are in the office. They're not teaching.
Correct.
So
But usually they've come from a teaching background.
right. The principals, they've been teachers, you know.
Right. Even superintendents have got some kind of educational background. Not in all cases, but in some cases. But yeah, getting back on the merit thing, you know, I want the best people teaching
Don't care your color.
kids.
I really don't care your
I
color.
don't care your color. I don't care if
Want
you're
the best.
if you're physically handicapped. I don't care about any of that stuff.
No.
If you got to have the kid's best interest, no matter what you believe.
To engage the child too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Adopt a parental bill of rights that includes complete curriculum transparency and a form of universal school choice. None of this operating under the radar. None of that.
I'm all about school choice. Are you?
Yes.
I mean, I know your wife is a teacher in a public school. Public schools are good, you know.
She wants to home teach Cameron.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're just not in a position yet to do that.
Right. So if you're in a school and you're getting fed garbage, obviously you don't want to re-spew that garbage, right? You want to be able to do what's right. I mean, and it shows in our kids these days. Oh my gosh, it just
Yeah,
shows
the attitudes and the
attitudes and where
the
we
way
rate.
yeah,
It's
it
concerning.
shows. Yeah.
Very concerning.
Implement the direct election of school principals by the parents as the ultimate form of local control. Principals by the parents. That is interesting. That is very interesting. Have them run for office? That's
I don't know. Let us
interesting.
see the
I mean,
the
don't we vote for the
credentials.
superintendent? No, the board appoints the superintendent. We vote for the board.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, in your local area.
Yeah.
Right. But there's no. I mean, I know in some of the boards around here we have. I don't know what the credentials are. What are your credentials to do
For-
that? To run for member of
Principal.
board of directors?
Board, nothing. No, you just have to. Canvass and knock on doors and
Popularity.
kiss babies.
Yeah, popularity. That's scary.
Yeah. Put out signs at major traffic areas. Vote for me.
Yeah.
Okay, number 32. We must protect Medicare and Social Security. Look, we finally beat Medicare.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Joe said?
Yeah, that was one of his high points there.
What he meant to say was we finally beat Pharma, Big Pharma. Come on, stop spinning it. Under no circumstances should Republicans vote to cut a single penny from Medicare or Social Security.
I'm all for that.
I'm all for that.
Yep. I don't.
I paid into both, and eventually I'd want to use it since hopefully it's available.
Yep. Republicans shouldn't punish seniors to fund Biden's spending spree.
So I think
Anybody's spending spree, but right now.
But I
yeah.
think this is about giving like Social Security to illegal aliens.
Right.
That's funding his spending spree.
Yeah.
All right. Biden has blown out the federal budget and wasted trillions of dollars. Look at his budget thing for next year. It's a $7 trillion.
Yeah. That is crazy. I mean, what do we take in? We take in about 3 to 4 trillion. So where are we going to get that extra money? Where's that money going to come from?
We could raise payroll taxes. Raise the cap, right? That would get more money.
Yeah, on the wealthiest. We talked about that, right?
Yeah,
On the
yesterday we did.
wealthiest of the nation. Okay. While we must stop Biden's out-of-control spending, bureaucrats in Washington should feel the pain, not hardworking Americans. I agree.
Yeah, I think Biden, he's out of touch. And his idiocracy, they're out of touch. They don't know what's going on.
I think a lot of the people that we send to Washington these days, they're out of touch. Like you said, it's a popularity thing. Once they get in there,
I'll bet you if you had term limits, they'd really quick get up to speed with being in touch. I'll bet you.
and I bet the founding fathers they probably never envisioned, I think, the fact that people would make a career out of serving your nation in a political
That's probably
way.
why they didn't include it.
Yeah,
They didn't even include terms for presidents.
right.
FDR, 3. Was going to
Yeah.
go on his 4th, but he died. He
Yeah.
croaked.
Yeah.
Kicked it. Okay, E. Cut the billions in taxpayer dollars going to corrupt foreign countries. Why
That's
are we
another
borrowing
no-brainer.
money to give it to other?
Yep.
Not loan it, give it.
Yeah.
Why are we doing that?
Yeah. Like Iran. Why are we giving money to a country that hates us?
Well, technically, it's their money that was frozen, like with the Shah when the whole 1979 occurred.
Okay.
It's their assets that were frozen.
Okay. Why are we giving it back to them? You give money back to a
I'll
bank
agree with you
robber
on that.
after they spent time in jail and done their time.
Just don't do it on my watch because then you'll blame me. Do it on the Democrats' watch so we can
Yeah.
blame them, right?
All right, cut the mass releases of illegal aliens that deplete our social safety network. That's another no-brainer.
That's another.
I love these points. And why
Send them
we?
back to where they came.
Yeah, why we got to the point where these have to be listed in a. I mean,
They sound like grievances, but it's like common sense.
this
I
is
mean,
happening.
is this really a grievance to stop giving money to illegal aliens? Is that really a grievance? Oh my gosh. Illegal immigration costs U.S. taxpayers an estimated $140 billion annually. With a B. That's not even the interest on the.
That is big money.
That's not even the interest on the debt. Not even.
Cut the left-wing gender programs in our military.
I'm all for that. There shouldn't be these weird gender things. And you're probably asking me why. Well, ladies now can go to Ranger School. They can be Special Force, and they can directly engage the enemy. I'm okay with that.
If they can
If
pass,
a gal wants
if they can
to,
pass the training,
if they
more
can
power-
pass the training,
more power to
don't
them.
lower the standards.
Yeah.
It used to be that females and males had different, like for push-up standards, for the Army Physical Fitness Test, But
Again, is that setting our best to defend our country? It's not, is it? I mean, again,
if they can meet the standards, if they can meet the standards, I'm all for it. And don't lower the standards just so that we can have people meet them.
Yep.
Okay, cut the billions spent on climate extremism and all other forms of waste and fraud. I think we do a pretty good job of protecting the climate in the United States. I think we do. Shouldn't we set our sights on China or India? Those guys are polluters, man.
Yeah. It needs to be worldwide. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's almost a joke.
I mean, we do our point. Why work everybody up into a frenzy because you're getting money from the climate hoax? Come on, man.
Yeah. The 1.7 trillion omnibus package, 1.7 trillion.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Earmarked 15.3 billion to tackle the climate crisis, and an additional 15 billion across 7,200 pet projects.
It's Festivus, man.
Festivus all over.
That's pork. Pet projects.
15 billion. 15.3 billion. That's a lot of billions.
That's like 4 state-of-the-art fighter jets, bomber jets, right there. 4 of them, right? Twerp in Texas? Let me know. All right. Number 33. President Trump calls for probe into intelligence community's role in online censorship. Now, recently, Supreme Court just kicked back a request by the state AGs to go after the federal government for the censorship that happened. You know how they were talking? We found out from the Elon Musk purchasing Twitter.
Oh, with Twitter?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Twitter tapes.
Yeah.
And that was going on, that chicanery. But
and there was some funny stuff from Facebook too, right?
oh yeah,
During the
yeah,
election,
yeah.
right?
A lot of the social.
A lot of manipulation.
And then they were like going after Parler, who was trying to be up and up, and then Trump had to create his own Truth Social. So, the SCOTUS kicked it back because they said that the adjutant generals for these states did not have standing. So if the states don't have standing, then a person who is harmed on Twitter or Facebook needs to step forward and take this fight to the Supreme Court.
So they'd have to go directly to the federal level for that. you
Yeah.
think? Oh wow.
Well, a person would go in
Yeah.
federal court and see what the federal court does, and if they knock it down, then, or if they approve it, then the DOJ would try and stop that from happening. It would work its way up to the Supreme Court. But
So-
someone who has standing.
But because of that, I mean, again, all those steps take money, right?
Money
they take lots
and
of finance,
time.
a lot of time.
Money and time.
Lawyers aren't cheap, and so that could be prohibitive to doing that, right?
Well,
If that were the
unless
case.
you could find like a PAC or something like that can front the costs, maybe. But individual Joe, well, I wasn't affected because I didn't have a Twitter account. But if I were affected, I don't have the money.
Yeah,
to do that.
exactly.
Okay. You go.
Okay. 34. Total ban on taxpayer dollars used to free illegal aliens and criminal penalties for administrative non-compliance.
Okay, so this administrative non-compliance, this is like there's a law in the books and you purposely refuse to execute the law. Like Mayorkas, right?
Oh, okay.
This catch and release, right? That's not on the books. It's turn them away, right? Turn them away. Dems just try and do some acrobatics to come up with a nexus for what they're doing and what's in the law.
Yeah, and if you've never seen Mayorkas during a House or Senate
That smug
hearing,
look on his
oh my
face.
gosh, that guy is he is just completely trying to baffle everybody.
I just want to punch him, but I have to repent for saying that.
He just he is, and again it's one of these things where it's right out in the open. Nobody's hiding anything. They are doing the border bad, and it's
And I think this
Not helping anybody.
the ban on taxpayer dollars used to free illegal aliens, I think that might mean the judiciary systems and providing a public whatever to immigration person to walk them through. I think that's what that might mean too.
Or maybe after they commit a crime and they're
Yeah.
illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want any, I don't want them to have, again, they shouldn't be here to begin with. They just killed a citizen or whatever they did, whatever their crime is.
Again.
And yeah. And
Pops
so,
up every week. Every single week we hear about it.
Right. They've come across the border multiple times, which is costing money and processing. Let them fund their own defense, right?
Yeah. Well,
I don't want it.
throw away the key. Put them in jail.
I mean, have you ever known anybody that's been in a foreign country and gone through some hell?
Vandersloot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed that girl in Aruba.
Yeah, one of
But
these
he
days I'll
deserved
tell
it.
you about a story of a guy that I went to school with and I kind of worked with indirectly, and they got in some issues down in Mexico. It was awful. It was awful. But anyway.
Okay, the last one, free speech policy initiative. Love that, even how it sounds. If we don't have free speech, then we don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down.
First Amendment, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why is it the first?
Well, I mean, the bill, that was the most important stuff.
Exactly.
And there's three big elements in that First Amendment: speech and
Religion,
and
press.
press. Yes. I took a class in
That's okay.
constitutional
worked up
law
today.
class. Yeah, I am worked up.
All right, here we go. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health.
Yeah, well,
Do away with it.
well, we saw that at the debate. Our lying eyes saw that, and our lying ears heard that.
Yeah.
What they've been covering up. That's just one thing, with the debate.
Deep state.
Deep state. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here is President Trump's plan.
All right, first, within hours of my inauguration,
Hours.
Yep, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I love it. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech or mis or disinformation, and I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who is engaged in domestic censorship,
Do it.
directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health and Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Amen to that.
You know what sucks about this is that we're going to follow this, and we're going to allow the hysterical radical left to just ejaculate false information or hysteria, just talk. But then we're going to police ourselves. That's what conservatives do.
Why would that be such a big deal? If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, if you're doing something against your mission statement,
they think they're doing
out
something.
of here, you're fired.
They think they're doing something right, so they're not going to follow that. Even if we put it on the books, like Mayorkas, he's not going to follow the catch and return.
Yep.
He's going to catch and relocate to the interior. All right.
Smoke and mirrors.
Don't look here. Second, President Trump will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election laws, security laws, and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of...
Okay, here we go.
We've already
4th
started.
of July.
We've already started. And a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters, right? That's to each department. Hey, you need to say, don't delete it, don't destroy it. And we have to do this right now to the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship.
Hear, hear.
They will. Like, what did the J6 committee do? They destroyed stuff.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Bleach pit on her. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you want me to wash it with bleach? Come on.
Third, before we come under attack here. Wow, that was close. Upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of the censorship business. From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination.
Yeah, they shouldn't be on the hook for what someone says. They should be on the hook for what they do. The social media platform does, not what someone says.
Yeah. We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, it's like right is wrong and wrong is right. It's crazy. Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation, the Ministry of Truth. The federal government should, I'm not saying that we should do, I'm just saying they tried the Ministry of Truth. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal and blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years. I mean,
and we've seen that happen, right? When speakers...
yeah, they get shouted down.
Yeah,
or the students and the administrators.
Or the security will come and say, hey, you're not allowed to come on our campus. You know, that's wrong.
You do it to one institution and maybe they'll all fall in line, you know? Okay, for 5 years and maybe more. We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendments. So fourth is a legal search and seizure. Fifth is to plead. You don't have to not incriminate yourself,
Yep.
right? In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders, like we have, you no longer have a country. That's a true statement.
Absolutely.
Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year cooling off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data.
I love it. Yep.
I'm all for that.
Yep. Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process, and in other words, government officials should not need a should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening.
Yeah.
The right
cover that up.
Yeah. The right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose. Sounds good?
Could be used for good, could be used for bad. Let us decide.
Opposition in all things.
Let me decide. Okay?
Yeah.
I like that. Opposition in all things. The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When Mr. Trump is president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large. There won't be anything left, and I believe him.
Drain the swamp. Nothing
I believe
left.
him. I believe him. All right, folks, this is kind of long, but it was the last part of Mr. Trump's Agenda 47, and we appreciate you joining us. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Happy 4th of July, everyone.
4th of
Stay
July.
safe. Take care.